welcome back to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent with Nathan Najib, the blueprint to help you become a millionaire real estate agent. Today I want to talk about 11 mistakes that agents make. The first one is believing the dream that they've been sold by the company. The company they joined might have told them, hey, it's easy to get into real estate. All you need to do is get your license and the sales roll in. Well, the truth is, it's a lot of hard yards to be able to get the listings, to negotiate and get a sale. It takes a long time. It took me about 6 months to get my first sale. And my first year in real estate was a disaster. I had only sold, made $6,235 or something along those lines, right? So that one sale. Number two, agents working with buyers. They're only concentrating with buyers, and what happens is when you work with buyers, usually they disappoint you, and what happens is then you kind of give up. You're like, okay, well, you know what? You know how they call it the buyers or liars and all that kind of stuff. That is not the truth. But the truth is, in today's business, you don't need to take buyers through properties nowadays. Buyers can jump on Trade Me and have a look at properties themselves. Yeah, 30, 40, 50 years ago, there was only, they had a little MLS, I think they called it, on piece of paper. They used to, when they used to get the listing and they bring it to the office and then they tell the agent there's a listing that's coming to the market. They used to sort of like that. But today, working with buyers is the worst thing one can do, because the reality is 9 out of 10 buyers. I was working with an agent yesterday, Janisha, one of the agents was working on one of our properties that we were selling, and he had a buyer that was the highest offer. We were about to sign it for him. And then guess what happened? He called back. Said, my buyer's pulled out, right? So working with buyers, we did end up selling the property to the other buyer, which we were working with. But what I'm trying to say is, working with buyers is going to disappoint you and disappoint you and disappoint you. The kind of buyers I'll be working with, I'll be encouraging my agents to work with, is people who have actually perhaps also, you've got their houses on the market maybe, right? So working with buyers, number two. Number three is agents working for someone who hasn't got a track record, who has never sold homes before, working for a boss who has been an average salesperson himself. What is somebody's got to teach you? What can somebody teach you, what I'm trying to say, if they haven't sold homes themselves, and if they have sold, they were just average themselves, right? What kind of systems can they teach you? What can they tell you? How you can communicate with buyers and sellers, right? So number three, working for a boss that doesn't know about, never sold a house before, or when the person or the manager has sold a house, or he or she was just an average salesperson. Number four is brands told you, whomever you work with told you that this brand here that you come with is going to help you get listings. That's a lie. It never happens like this. People don't sell properties with brand. They sell properties with people, right? Brand has got nothing to do. If you work with the red, blue, white, pink, and green, whatever brand you work with, it does not matter at all. People have a relationship with you and you only. They list with you, they sell with you. Give me, out of 15, 20 things that happen when you're selling a property, give me 5 things that brand does. Tell me. Photography, does it get by the brand? Does brand do photography? Does writing a text, does the brand do that for you? Does an open home is carried by a brand? Is the negotiation does that happen by the brand? No. So brand does not get you a listing or nothing. Number 5. This is an interesting one, because people think here, especially in Christchurch and New Zealand, people think we want to sell properties all around Christchurch, and I want 500,000 people to get to know me. 500,000 people. What I'm not sure if you know about this thing called 1,000 raving fans is all you need to have an amazing sales career or even a business. All I need for Najib to have 1,000 raving fans to have a brilliant business. So our agents we're suggesting to specialize rather than generalize. Everybody else is generalizing. Let them generalize, right? And the best of the best agents that I know are the ones that 1,000 people know them by their first name. So if it's your database, 1,000 people, clean, crisp database. Everybody knows you. Or if it's an area that you're specializing in, clean area. Everybody knows you in the area. As not just a salesperson, as a decent, good human being, right? And then number six is your prospecting, not consistently prospecting. Like agents, they think the lead's just gonna roll in, and if I'm making 2, 3, 4, 5 calls a day, right? Well, the reality is prospecting is the most important thing. If you want to do well in sales or in real estate in particular, you got to make the phone calls. You got to make the phone calls. So you know what I spoke about in the past: prospecting, listing, selling, and negotiating. Right? Nothing else happens unless you prospect. Pick up this goddamn phone and make phone calls. Right? Make phone calls. Prospecting consistently, not 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I'm talking about forever. That is the job. That's what you get paid to do. Right? Prospecting. And then number 7, I think we're up to number 7 now, right? Number 7 is having a right mentor, somebody who can give you a blueprint. Yes, I know, I did this myself. I started in real estate 16 years ago. The first 5 years, all I did was like just running around, making phone calls, doing everything, right? I suggest following somebody's footstep. And then I learned later that when I started having meet John and meet Phil and all these guys, and I was like, how do they do this? Do they do things, right? So let's just follow that rather than trying to create my own blueprint, right? So now, finding the right mentor and just following what that person does. Most agents, if it's top agents, if it's an agent who's just an average agent, most of them have got no rituals, no routines, right? Very few do. The very few are the ones that do well, right? So following in somebody's footsteps, having good coach, a good mentor, somebody who's actually got great track record, has done something, not done it 1 year, 2 year, but done it consistently and still does it, right? And then not being diligent with their leads, like what agents do mostly, like, they're like, okay, I'm gonna make phone calls and I'm just gonna try and get me a listing today. Yes, that could work once in a while, but if you want to have a successful career, you need to be diligent with your leads, right? So following up with sellers, right? So what we do is what I encourage my guys to have sellers list, and also then sellers list. Then you have another list, these sellers who are ready to sell, like now next 30 days, right? And a sellers list who's thinking about selling in the next 6 months, and sellers list who are looking to sell in the next 6+ months, right? And just grow that list and keep in touch with me. So diligently following up with these leads, right? And then the next one is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage, what happens is, what I also call a willpower, is what happens is you're like, I'm gonna do this thing, and you don't do it. Like, let's say you commit yourself that you're gonna make 2 phone calls or 5 phone calls, 25 phone calls, let's say, hopefully 25 phone calls a day, right? And I'm gonna do 10 connects, right? And what happens, you don't stick to it. When you don't stick to it, you lose your willpower. You're like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not old enough, and I'm not young enough. Just when you don't feel good about yourself, you always like doubt yourself, like, what the hell is wrong with me, right? To avoid doing that, having self-sabotage, what you need to do, you need to commit to what you say you're gonna do. If you say you're gonna make 10 phone calls today, do it. Make 11 phone calls the next day and do it, and do it again and again and again. Same as workout. If you try and do a workout, you want to schedule a workout, do it, right? Because if you don't do it, what's going to happen is you're going to feel bad about yourself. When you feel bad about yourself, you're like, this is not good for me. Real estate is not for me, or whatever it may be, right? Then you would like get down to a victimhood mentality, and you're like, well, you know what? I'm not a sales guy, or the sale is too hard, I'm not made for sale, or I am too old, I'm too young, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm whatever it may be, right? So you make excuses rather than taking responsibility, ownership, and accountability, and actually making things like, you know what? This didn't go well. Okay, how can I improve, right? So rather than leaving it to become a victim, you're a victor. You don't self-sabotage yourself. Like, you actually do things where you commit to doing things, right? And the last one is flexibility, because real estate is you're now you're self-employed, right? So you can turn up to work whenever you like. So one day you turn up to 8 o'clock, and the next day you turn up at 8:30, and there's nobody to keep you accountable, right? So you turn up at 10 o'clock, and then you used to stay till 5 o'clock. Now you stay on until 4:30, and you turn up at 10:30, and then leave at 2:30, and then you turn up at 11:30, and you leave at 2 o'clock, right? And you hardly work, right? Flexibility is an issue. It's like, if you are we know that if your business is not working, there's a formula. Put in the hard yards, right? And doing the thing that matters will help you become successful, right? And if you're not putting the hard yards and not doing the work that you're supposed to, like prospecting, right? Then it's a failure, right? So we know that there's so many ways to get 10 as a result, right? You add 3 plus 7, you add 6 plus 4, you add 5 plus 5, it becomes 10, right? So these formulas there, what happens is people make excuses and say that they cut corners, right? So one of the things that this industry, or being a salesman or self-employed, is there's that much flexibility. So like, you're trying to cut corners, trying to add 3 plus 5, and you want to add 10. No, it doesn't. You got to add 5 plus 5 for it to become 10. Or there's other ways to do it as well, yeah? There's 3 plus 7, there's 6 plus 4, right? It becomes 10, but the thing is X plus Y. You got to find the formula. X, what is X and what's Y? In my opinion, is X is the hard work, hard yards. Y is consistently doing it for a long period of time, and success will happens. So here's the 11 mistakes, and if you wanna have a long successful business, you need to try and avoid any and all of these mistakes to be able to do well in a sales career. I hope this has been of help to you. Subscribe to our channel below, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.